Yo, and what is going on YouTube, and welcome back for another Oathbreaker Deck Tech. Now, if you guys are loving the Oathbreaker format, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. If you guys are interested in MagiKids, the official charity of the Oathbreaker team, make sure to check out those links in the description box down below. But guys, let's jump right on into today's Deck Tech. We are going to be looking at Angrath the Flame Chained, paired with his signature spell, Burning Inquiry. Now, Angrath enters the battlefield for 3 black-red with 4 loyalty counters and the following abilities. Now, it's +1, each opponent discards a card and loses 2 life. -3, gain control of target creature until the end of turn, untap it, it gains haste, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step if it has CMC 3 or less. -8, each opponent loses life equal to the number of cards in his or her graveyard. Now, this is very good because this deck is going to be primarily focused on forcing our opponents to discard their cards. Burning Inquiry is a great way to shut down combo decks. For a single red, each player draws 3 cards, then discards 3 cards at random. Yes, at random is the way to really get them to kind of discard the things that they really don't want to. Now, getting into the creature, Shocker for a 1 and a red, a 1/1 creature. If Shocker deals damage to that creature, they discard their hand and draw a new one. Now, this is a great card if you also have out like a Megrim. You can hit them for 1, force them to discard 5 or 6 cards and deal 10 or 12 damage, kind of just through your 1/1. Now, the next set of creatures, Liliana's Spectre, Burglar Rat, Rotting Rats, Miasmic Mummy, they're all entering the battlefield and kind of triggering to force opponents or all players to discard a card. Lightning Skelemental from Modern Horizons, 6/1 with Trample and Haste, but whenever he deals damage, that opponent has to discard 2 cards. Another way to kind of get that value off of there. Ravenous Rats, another discard outlet. Anya Falconwrath from Commander 19, really good creature in this deck. Just being able to kind of loot through our deck, discard what we don't want, draw new cards. The Madness thing doesn't really ever come up in here. There's a couple instances, but I wouldn't say it's a primary focus. Ball Lightning, another way to get in on some cheap damage. 6/1 Trample Haste. Spawn of Mayhem, a 4/4 demon with flying and trample at the beginning of your upkeep. It deals 1 damage to each player. If you can get him out for the spectacle cost, it's really good. Squee is a very good card to just kind of discard for value, just because he's going to be coming back to your hand on your upkeep. Now, Flashback Marauder is a good way to just have everyone sacrifice a creature, especially if someone's playing like a Voltron strategy and only has 1 creature out. Now, we're going to start looking at the really the value of this deck, forcing our opponents to discard cards. The Rack, if our opponent has less than 3 cards, it deals 1 damage for each card less than 3. Liliana's Caress and Megrim, whenever they discard a card, they're going to take 2 damage. Waste Not. Waste Not is like the biggest engine for this deck. Since it has so many modes, whenever our opponent discards a card, we're going to get some sort of value out of it, whether it's a 2/2 block zombie, 2 black mana, or we're going to be able to draw a card. This is extremely, extremely good if you can get it down in the early turns and then go off and force your opponents to discard cards. Bottomless Pit and Oppression, this is just additional ways to force our opponents to discard cards. Shrieking Affliction and Quest for the Nihil Stone, both deal damage to players on their upkeeps when they have less than 1 card in their hand. So on your upkeep, if you have 1 card in your hand, you'll take 8 from Shrieking Affliction and the Quest. Phyrexian Arena, if you can get this card down early, it's very good. We're not too concerned about our life total in this deck. We just want to be drawing cards and forcing our opponents to discard cards. Leyline of the Void is the one way I have in this deck to kind of shut down graveyards. Just because we are forcing our opponents to discard their hands to the graveyards, I want to make sure they're not getting anything back from there and just make sure to completely lock them out. Lightning is a lightning bolt attached to forcing an opponent to discard 2 cards. Hymn to Turok, target player will discard 2 cards at random. Vicious Rumors, this is a really good card for multiplayer. Each opponent discards a card. Mills 1. deals 1 damage to them, and we get to gain 1 life. Raven's Crime, target player discards a card, which also has Retrace. Dark Deal, I love this card a ton, especially if someone is playing like a card draw deck. We can just force them to discard all the cards in their hand, draw that many -1, but if you have out Megrim or Liliana's Caress, this is just absolute value for us. Smallpox, each player loses life, discards a card, sacks a creature, and sacks a land. Again, another way to just kind of lock down some of that control. Faithful Saluting is a way for us to kind of turn through our own deck and figure out, find the pieces that we need. Tormenting Voice is another way. Discard a card. Usually I try to discard Squee if I have him, then draw 2 cards. Terminate is just a bit of removal. The Elder Spell is there to deal with the ever-present Planeswalkers, and it also is a really easy way to get Angrath into that ultimate ability. Fiery Temper is the only card in the deck with Madness cost, so it just becomes a Lightning Bolt. Blasphemous Act and Damnation are the only 2 board wipes in the deck. But guys, that's going to be it for this Oathbreaker deck tech based around Angrath the Flame Chained, a really nice discard deck strategy. It's won me tons of games. It's a lot of fun to play. But guys, if you guys have any recommendations for videos you'd like to see in the future, right now I'm kind of working on a Tameo Chulane Enter the Battlefields Oathbreaker deck, so I'm hoping I can get a video up around that in the next few days. But guys, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, because what else you gonna do? I'll check you guys later.